Greetings BARcadians and welcome to this week's episode of the BA News Show. Don't forget, every week, Friday at 5 PM. Tune in, tell your friends, and while you're listening, click that like button now. Actually, I think it's down this way. Click that like button for us, really helps to grow and support the channel. So we've got 3 items for you this week. Some fairly decent chunks of news going around. Still no PS5 unfortunately, but plenty to be busy with. But before we get into that, Richard, would you like to tell us what you've been playing this week, sir?
Certainly. No one ever calls me Richard, so that massively threw me off. But I've not played that. I've been editing quite a big piece that's upcoming this week, so that we filmed on the weekend. So I've not played that much gaming, but on the weekend, linked to that video, I was playing a bit more Gran Turismo. So watch out for that one, guys. Tabz was also heavily involved.
Yes, indeed.
And then what about you, Tabz? What have you been on with?
I've told the BARcadians last week that I'm actually in the process of moving, so yeah, I've packed up the consoles. I'm not going to have to play anything. What I did do though was watch a speed run of Resident Evil 2 Remake, just to kind of ramp up some of that excitement for 3 Remake Nemesis. And yeah, it was just amazing to see. I think the developers of the game were watching it, this speedrunner play it, and it was just crazy. Like how much to a fine art he's got the whole run through down. Like he's not putting a foot wrong and just scraping past some of the enemies at times.
And on that, how inadequate did you feel as a gamer when you watched that?
Oh, hugely, yeah. Speedrunners, it's a whole other level, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure a great deal of obsession and yeah, and hours of study go into that, which must be for me, it would be soul destroying, I think, personally. But if you like that, and certainly it looks very impressive when you watch it. So I support speedrunners. It's just another little facet of the games industry and to show the passion of other gamers. So yeah,
absolutely. And for those interested, we'll put a link for that in the description below.
Brilliant. Well, let's move this on then. And just a little disclaimer, Rich and I are actually going to record this in a one straight through shot, God of War-esque you might say, for the very reason that I'm moving, we're limited on time, we can't afford to be editing too much. So if we make any mistakes, we say anything wrong, just tell us in the comments, put us right, and bear with us on this week, BARcadians. So, first item, well, it's all about Hideo Kojima. So a few tidbits here. Yeah, God of gaming and God of binary Arcadia. So yeah, what do we know? Well, Kojima is set to receive a fellowship from the BAFTA Game Awards in April of this year. And just so, in case you weren't aware, the fellowship is the highest accolade that BAFTA actually give out. So, massive kudos to Kojima and a big moment of recognition for him. We've got a couple of quotes from Kojima who said, "Thank you very much for this precious BAFTA Fellowship Award. He's very honoured. He'd like to take this moment to reflect on the many predecessors that came before him, very humble, as I deeply respect their contributions to entertainment, whether in movies, television or games." As we know, he's a friend of many people in the entertainment industry generally and collaborates frequently with many different people across that. He finished off by saying, "I would also like to thank those who have supported me over the years, and I will continue my commitment to creating new and innovative ways that will push the world of play entertainment forward." So, Rich, what do you think to that, just while we're...
I mean, as you've said, it's the highest possible accolade, and to be honest, I couldn't name somebody else in the games industry that has received this. I'm not saying that no one else has received this. I just think it's incredible that that he's getting this, and it's really cool that BAFTA have decided to give him this massive accolade and almost like a thanks for all of the games that he's created. And actually, I think it comes across really well that he's so humbled by that he's sort of suggested that his products are based through the collaboration with either other people or through other people's work, and I think that's really cool.
Iterative, based on all the foundations that have been laid by other people, developers, creators in the industry. And that,
Absolutely. I mean,
it's an
that's
antidote
selfless.
to some of the things that he's been accused of in the past as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's been accused of being an egomaniac, hasn't he? Often, and that is quite humbling almost says that's not me, basically. So, yeah, amazing. I think it's going to be really cool, and I think I can't wait to see him pick that up and see his terrible translator that stands by him just say thank you after he speaks for 10 minutes.
I like his voice, actually. I think he's got a heck of a bedroom voice, his translator. But no, I know what you're saying. I've seen that clip. Yeah, I think I've seen that clip.
You know what I mean? Kojima will talk quite a monologue, and then the translator will just go, thank you. That's not what he said.
He's exhausted.
Anyway.
Kojima is just so on an intellectual plane above everybody else. It must be a nightmare. But no, it is fantastic just to say, you know, especially on some of the controversy around Death Stranding, he's contributed so much to the industry, and we want to see him keep creating and innovating.
Absolutely.
And this will hopefully supercharge him a little bit.
And it's people like him, super passionate about the product, that are moving the games industry forward, and you know, in some ways away from where the games industry is going with other developers, where it's monetization, it's episodic, it's things that we don't necessarily like, it's unfinished products. So yeah, awesome. And actually on that, there has been some other Kojima news, or Kojima Productions news, which has piqued our interest. Now, what am I talking about here? So recently, Kojima Productions' official Twitter account tweeted an image of head communications Aki Sato. And
Aki Saito, I'd say maybe, but yeah, whatever suits. Okay. I don't know.
So he was pictured basically saying, "I am still about. I've just been very busy." And in this shot was lots of intriguing things which have piqued our interest. Let's talk about them. So in the tweet it said, "I've been very silent recently." So note that word "silent" there, saying that he's been busy doing stuff. He was writing on a notepad, or
post-it note. Yeah.
And he said on the post-it "next week." So you think, okay, interesting. Maybe there's some news coming next week. Why would he write that on there? That's interesting. And then to further pique our interest in this, he was using a pyramid. Yes, that is pyramid branded pencil, which is very, very interesting. Of course, we know that Silent Hill, the main antagonist in that game, is Pyramid Head. So I think that's very interesting. Are we getting a nod here to suggest that his next, or Kojima Productions' next game is going to be some sort of Silent Hill game, remake, whatever it might be?
And of course we've reported on in the BA News in previous weeks so-called rumours that, you know, Kojima, or at least Kojima Productions, have somehow made peace with Konami and perhaps have been lent the license. So, maybe. You know, there's something smoking on there, isn't there? Hard to say if, you know, enthusiastic fans are just looking for something, you know, and pulling something from nothing, but
it's those shadows we're chasing in the games industry again, Tabz.
Absolutely, those elusive shadows. And well, just to furthermore double down on that, people are stating as well that Kojima himself tweeted some time ago that he was working on the next project concept in his office, and because of the fact that he was working alone in a silent office, and apparently there was a hill displayed on one of his monitors, that also lends credence to this whole rumour. Yeah. I think that much less so, surely, Rich. That sounds madness.
Absolutely agreed. But on the other side of that, this is Kojima all over. This is what he does. He leaves little messages for people to see. He loves it. He loves that. Whether he's done that...
Meta.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether he's done that because it's fun and he likes to sort of wind the audience up, get the juices flowing, to create a conversation, or whether there's actually some truth to this, I'm guessing we'll find out in due course.
This is it, yeah. I mean, I'd love it. I would love it. And
absolutely.
Also to know that perhaps there's some sort of peace between Kojima Productions and, you know, Konami. Well, does that give the possibility of Metal Gear, arriving back with Kojima at some point in the future? I don't know. But let's move this on, Rich. Second item.
Absolutely.
Half-Life Alyx.
Indeed. What do we know, Tabz?
Well, essentially, Valve have just released 3 short videos of gameplay of this new entry in the Half-Life series. We know it's going to be focused around virtual reality, and it's going to be first-person virtual reality at that. And essentially, we've got 10 full minutes of just how it's all going to play out in terms of how it feels, what the shooting's like, what the interactivity or the level of interactivity with objects is in the game. And having watched, I think, at least one of these videos on IGN, I'm pretty impressed, Rich. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I have to say, it looks incredible. I mean, for me, potentially vomit-inducing, unfortunately, but I do feel like this is really moving the VR platform like forward. This is a legitimate game on VR. I'm not saying that there aren't ones out there, but this is a big game to come to VR and is looking incredible. I mean, the BBC ran a story today on their news saying this is sort of redefining gaming. It's a new outlet for gaming, and it gives something completely unique. So I think that's amazing that people have said this is going to be incredible, basically. So
it
I'm
looks
really,
to be setting
really excited.
a new high standard, a new high bar for VR experiences, and it looks to be a full AAA, entry in the Half-Life series. A couple of bits I've loved: you can get these kind of explosive tanks in the game. Looks to be you can pick it up with one hand, chuck it, and then shoot it while it's in the air next to an enemy with the other hand, which is so cool. And then I don't know if you've seen, Rich, but they've got like an upgrade system which essentially has you put your gun into like a 3D printer on the fly, and then you've got like a currency or a resource in resin that you look for and you find as you play, and that's how you actually upgrade your weaponry, which I think is just a fantastic idea.
Amazing. Wow.
And just a little footnote to this one as well. Robin Walker, developer at Valve, has actually said we absolutely see Half-Life Alyx as our return to this world, not the end of it. So essentially, there's a little hint there that people are wondering, are we ever going to see more of a traditional first-person shooter entry of Half-Life, returning perhaps to Gordon Freeman as the main protagonist? Well, that certainly doesn't rule it out. So, yeah, interesting.
Excellent.
BArcadians.
Amazing.
Round us off, Rich.
So, I don't know whether any of what guys have seen this, but the Final Fantasy VII demo has dropped, and you can get on the PlayStation Store right now and download that. And I haven't played it because I've not had a chance, and I know Tabz has packed his PS up, so he hasn't played it. But by all accounts, from what we've seen and read, it has had a truly positive reception. Praise for graphics, the music, just the overall presentation of it. There've also been some suggestions that some of the acting is a little bit over the top, but then it is a Japanese RPG, so would it be the same without over the top acting? Who knows? That's sort of in some cases the charm of these games. It looks incredible, I have to say. It really does look incredible.
It looks to be the best looking game we've seen yet in the generation, I would say, even up there with the likes of Cyberpunk that we're yet to play in the flesh yet. So kudos on the presentation. Music's supposed to be very nostalgia provoking, but I think the main concerns seem to lie around the combat, whereas the original Final Fantasy VII was turn-based, strictly turn-based. This seems to go for some sort of a hybrid formula where
I have to say, go on, Tabz.
No, carry on, mate.
I was just going to say, I don't see how a hybrid of like a hack and slash and turn-based can work. I don't see how the two can gel together. They're so far removed from each other. I just don't. I need to get on this and see how this works, how it interacts.
This is it. I mean, some people are saying once you get into it and you commit some time to it, it does blossom and you do get a sense of satisfaction from it. But essentially, you're hack and slashing. You're entering these kind of slow down modes where you can. I think you've got some sort of. I think it's called an ATV bar that you charge, and then you can do these super skills essentially, which have a much more of a dent on the enemy's health bar. But then in line with that, you can also jump between characters. Was that more like Final Fantasy? Was it 15, Rich?
Yeah, you could definitely do that on 15. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I tended to stick with the same character more often than not, just because of the different ways in which the characters played. Basically, I found myself sticking to one style. But yeah, you could do that. And then they've introduced as well on this a classic mode, which it sort of simplifies the combat, almost making it sort of automatic from what I'm reading, Tabz. What have you heard about this? I mean, it sounds a bit more like the gambits we saw in Final Fantasy 12, Tabz, but...
Yeah, we wish. It'd be great to see a reintroduction of the gambit system from 12, but seemingly not. This essentially reduces it, from all reports, to a very easy mode, because all of the actual hack and slashing is basically made automatic. So no dodging, blocking, moving, performing melee attacks. It's all left to the game's apparently quite basic AI. So you're only left responsible for the command menu and these active time functions. So it does reduce it to more of a turn-based leaning, but how's that appeasing fans that are hardcore players who are good at turn-based strategy games? It just dumbs it down, if anything.
I mean, it sounds from what you're saying there that basically with classic mode turned on, your interaction with the game is very limited. It sort of does its own thing, a few button presses here and there.
Exactly. I think this is the issue, that because they've gone for this hybrid formula, you're actually not getting the best of either world, and it's a bit, and both are compromised. So, if they'd have gone hack and slash, well, maybe double down on that, make it a bit more Devil May Cry, Bayonetta. Really try and make that combat system deep and that style element and that skill ceiling very high for players to get their teeth into. Whereas it's hack and slashy in a way which some players have said is a bit almost spongy and repetitive. So we'll have to see. I mean, there's scope there for things like skill trees, so then there might be a big skill ceiling on it, and it might develop as the game progresses. But there's some concern.
On the flip side of that, the gambits, the sort of automatic system that was on Final Fantasy 12, that was more of a quality of life thing. It was like, well, I use this spell every single combat, such as haste or protection spells or whatever. That was just sort of right, I'll put that on every time. I haven't got to do that every time. I can concentrate on other things, such as setting up the right attack, whatever it might be. Whereas this just sort of automatics everything, so that your interaction and your maybe skill is like watered down. So
this is it. The gambits were wonderful because it was strategizing, wasn't it? But it was doing it in a way that was it will passively work for you, which you could arrange before a battle specific to a monster, but still have agency within the battle for a couple of key movements or key attacks. And it had such a lovely balance where it felt rewarding, whereas this could potentially, instead dilute it and turn the whole experience into more of a cinematic spectacle and less a kind of a strategy tactical game, which Final Fantasy games it's always been a big part of.
Absolutely.
So we shouldn't judge a book by a demo, especially. It's early days yet.
And having said that, a demo that neither of us have played. So
exactly.
We're currently just basing this on other people's reports.
Yeah, this is second-hand opinion coming out. But tell us what you think, BArcadians.
Absolutely. Have you guys played it? If so, let us know. What's it like?
And just to finish this one up, Rich, apparently there is a kind of a secret cutscene that you can unlock at the end of the demo if you make a particular choice partway through, which essentially relates to a timer. You set a bomb, I believe, with Barrett in the game, and you can choose either 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Choose 20 minutes, BArcadians, if you want to see this extra special secret ending. Apparently you've got plenty of time to get out, so don't worry about that. I think that's about it from my side, Rich. Any more comments?
No, mate, I think that's it. I mean, I'm literally probably going to either tonight or tomorrow be downloading this demo. To be honest, with everything that's been going on, I've been so busy with stuff, I've not completely forgotten about it, so I'm definitely going to be jumping on this. So possibly next week's BA News, I can give you my lowdown on it, or certainly my first impressions. I don't know, you might be get there, Tabz, don't know. With the move, maybe not.
I'd like to. I think I've got a few days off next week, so the house getting sorted is priority, and then maybe dip into a little bit of FF7.
40 hours.
Well, I don't think the demo's quite that long. But that's interesting you say that, because we know they've gone for this episodic approach. So that's one little final mention on the demo itself, or the game when it comes out. Are we going to be getting value for money with this? How many episodes in this original game is this going to turn into? Is it going to be a trilogy? I think Square really need to come out and state this to consumers before we even buy the first part, so we know what we're getting ourselves into.
I mean, ultimately, we don't want to be spending 50 quid on an 8-hour game that's episodic, and then it's another 50 quid for another 8 hours, another 50 quid, because that's not how Final Fantasies are they? They're like these grandiose pieces that you can put 40, 50 hours, 60 hours. I know one of our friends did 120 hours on Final Fantasy X. You know, I think that would be so far removed from the Final Fantasies we know. It would be strange.
I can't see for a full price game. I think at the very least they've got to be aiming for like 20 hours, which, you know, is still quite a short amount of time for a Final Fantasy game. But you know, they've got to be communicating this effectively with consumers. And fans of the series. It's only fair. So
absolutely,
yeah, that's my piece.
We wait to see on that. Well, I guess we're a few months away from release yet, so that they have got time to address that. And I'm guessing so it will get addressed before release. It has to.
Yeah, definitely. And with that being said, I think that wraps us up for today, Rich. So
absolutely.
Thank you, BArcadians, for tuning in. Anybody new to the channel, please, while you're here, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Drop us a comment, say hello, introduce yourself. We're a very communicative channel, so we do our best to get back to every comment. And I think that's probably about it. Another one for the archives.
Stamped and completed.